Hey, welcome to the City Rev Life podcast. I'm Josh, and I've got Dan with me here today, and we're going to continue our little mini series, part 2 of rest. How do we find rest? How do we take rest? And in the last episode, if you didn't check it out, be sure to go back and listen to it. After this one, we talked about a biblical perspective of rest and how we see rest woven throughout Scripture. And at the end of that podcast, we talked a little bit about application and how we can walk away with that with some nuggets of truth and start living that out. And we left it at 3 different things. Hey, build a daily rhythm of rest, a weekly rhythm of rest, and a yearly rhythm of rest, or like a cyclical rhythm of rest. And we talked a lot about like vacations and how we're blessed with the opportunity to have a larger rhythm of rest in our years with our families or to ourselves and all that stuff. So I've got Dan here with me, who is like the vacation expert. All right. At least in my opinion, he's got a lot
I do love vacation.
He does. I do as well. And I've learned a lot from him. He's got a lot of really good practical advice for us today on how we can best utilize our time of vacation and actually feel rested at the end of it. Because I know when I take vacation, sometimes I want to do so much that I get back from my vacation and I say, I need a vacation.
Yeah.
So Dan, take it away.
Yeah. Vacation's fun because we have ideas about vacation. And then sometimes if we don't think well, we get in and out of it and we have no benefit from the vacation. We may have some pictures that we share and other people think we got a lot of benefit.
Really pretty pictures.
Yeah, really pretty pictures, hopefully. Yeah. And people think we got a lot of benefit out of it. Or maybe we look at the pretty pictures of somebody else's vacation and we think they really know how to do it and we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
But vacation is amazing. It's a longer extended pause in life, taking a longer period of rest. And it's fantastic. So I absolutely love taking vacation. And in the last several years, I've worked hard to figure out how does the Gossett family take vacation really well? How do we think about it? And then wanting to share that with our team, talking about, hey, here are some things we can do. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get really practical and talk about how do we think and plan for vacation to maximize that benefit. And hopefully it'll be helpful. But
it's really good.
The first thing I would say is you have to start with the right mindset, right? In order to actually take vacation, you want to start with the right mindset. And it may sound overwhelming, but it's really easy. Here's the only real research you need to do. The first mindset is know how much vacation you can take.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Every employer has some sort of HR handbook that gives you a vacation benefit. Maybe it's in the offer letter. You can probably go to an HR department or even ask your boss, hey, how many vacation days do we get here? Like, how much vacation do I have? Just know what that benefit is. And I was really impacted hearing a CEO talk about it. He said, I used to think when I was a worker and not the CEO, I used to think that I was showing myself to be really hard and good at the job because I would never take vacation.
Oh, was he talking about me?
He may have been. But then he said once he became CEO, he realized, looking at the team that he's managing, it was the high output, high performers who took all of their vacation time.
Oh, wow.
And he said the worker mindset is, I'm going to show you how good I am by not taking time off. But the boss mindset is, I want to see who knows how to manage their time and take their time off. So I would highly encourage you, one thing you can do to get your boss's approval, hopefully, is take all of your vacation days, every single one of them. Know your amount and plan on taking them. The second mindset is involve your family. Whether you're planning on taking vacation with your roommates, with a friend group, or you've got a spouse or kids, involve the others in the process. So as you think about how much time you have, then you can start to think about, okay, how are we going to do this together? Because solo trips are great, and you can do vacation as a solo trip. It's a lot simpler to plan for a solo trip, but usually we get a lot more benefit if we're with others because we're just very naturally very communal creatures. That's part of our design. So taking others along with you, involve them in the process.
That sounds like a lot of fun too, being able to sit down and look at a map and say, all right, where do we want to go? And all right, if we're going to go there, where should we visit? And doing all the research together, and what hotel should we stay in? Should we rent a car? Like that sounds fun to me.
You know, there was an Ivy League school that did a study on people's satisfaction for vacations, and I found this really fascinating. Typically, you get more enjoyment out of planning the vacation than even being on the vacation.
Oh, wow.
Because as you have all the time to talk and dream about what you could do and where you could go,
I can
and
see that. Yeah.
you don't have any of the letdown of weather ruining it or bad customer service or plans falling through, all of the joy about thinking ahead without any of the downsides of the reality of it.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So maybe that's just where we need to stop. Just plan vacations with other people.
Bunch of vacations. You don't necessarily have to take them. Just have a bunch of plans.
That's right. All right. No, actually, I'd follow up with make plans with part 3, which is, or step 3, stay flexible. Just stay flexible.
Yep.
Plans are awesome. Plans are better than having no plan. But the goal is not to execute the plan flawlessly. The goal is to enjoy being with others and enjoy rest. So stay flexible. Things will change.
So having an itinerary down to the minute's probably not the best idea, because I'm an over planner.
For some people, that will provide comfort.
It's true.
And you can write it down to the minute. Yeah, you can write it down to the minute. Just as you write it down to the minute, know that in the first minute, the entire plan will change. So you can schedule your time, but no good plan survives first contact. So that'll happen. The last thing I'd encourage you, like just as a mindset, keep it reasonable. Keep it reasonable. Vacation is not a reason to go into debt. That adds so much additional financial stress outside of the vacation. Just think, how can you reasonably set aside time? You may go on social media, or you may hear other people talking about vacation, and you're like, that's incredible, but I don't have a yacht to go watch a Formula One race in Monaco. Like, make it reasonable. It's not about spending the most money. It's about getting the most out of your time. And I'd also say for us at City Rev, like, we are in South Florida. This is an international vacation destination.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to travel or go very far to be able to enjoy what's here in our community. So be reasonable with it.
That's good.
So that's kind of the mindset as you're thinking about vacation, which you can say, okay, yeah, I can remember those things, but how do I actually do the vacation, right? Like, how do I actually go from the mindset to the practical? So here's what I'd say. I realize this is a formula that I have that works really well for me, but I think I've distilled it down where people who don't like to plan like I do can still benefit from it. Because I think you've done this and you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, my wife and I, we love taking vacations and we love planning them. And we have taken a lot of the advice that you have given. And,
awesome.
And the big part of the advice that we've taken from you is planning, because it's ironic. We love to plan our vacations, but we don't plan very far in advance. We'll plan the vacation a week or two before the vacation. And I think one of the best pieces of advice we've gotten from you is, hey, know when you're going to take it. You don't have to have all the details. Just know when you're going to take it. And that's good for multiple reasons, right? You have said you get to look forward to it. You've also planned knowing that busy season, that month is always busy for you. You've already got a vacation scheduled, and you're able to not fight with other employees for getting that time off. You've got it. Like, that's something that you're looking forward to now as a family.
Right. Yeah. So in the actual practical how-tos, the first thing is pick the days. You know how many days you have. Yeah. Pick the days. And all of this is very simple. Like, you can use crayons and coloring paper, construction paper. What I do just is and how do you pick the dates? I print off a 1-page calendar where it's got little months and it shows me all the days. It's just on 1 page and it's just got all the months and days. And from there, I do a little bit of work because I'm an overscheduler like yourself. I do a little bit of work to I may circle all of the holidays or underline the birthdays. What are the birthdays in the group that's going on the vacation? What are the holidays to be aware of? And then I also look at the regular rhythm of what our family does. So I've got little kids that are in school. So taking a vacation in the middle of October is hard because my kids are in school. So then I mark off, right, when does school start and stop? And now I've got a very rudimentary, basic landscape to say, okay, here's what it is. And then here's the really complicated part. I take a highlighter and I highlight the days that I'm like, it would be nice to take a vacation here.
Wow.
And it'd be nice to take a vacation here. And then I count and make sure I've used up all the days. And then that's step 1. Step 2 is then I sit down with my wife or sit down with whoever you're taking vacation with and say, okay, here are some dates. What do you think about it? This is mindset 2 involving the rest of the group. Hey, here are some dates. What do you think about, school that's out And what do you think about the following week, us take some time off to celebrate that it's summer? Or, hey, your birthday is this time of year. What do you think about us taking a really long weekend right after your birthday to be able to celebrate and have fun? So we talk about it, and it's just that simple. It's what do you think about, not where are we going to go, what hotel are we staying in, how are we going to get there? We're just
the things that could stress people out pretty quickly.
Exactly. None of those plans. It's just a highlighter and a piece of paper, and it's like, hey, what do you think about taking this time and that time? And we schedule that out, and that way we've got all the dates ahead of time. And then one thing you don't think about is having all the dates ahead of time opens you up to so many more ways to make it more affordable. Once you've got dates, you can look for Groupon deals on travel or discounts, or if you find somebody, a friend who's got like a rental property, you can talk with them about when it's cheaper to rent that property, and you can adjust those dates. You're keeping it flexible. You can adjust those dates to maximize where you want to go and find the better deal, rather than Memorial Day weekend going where everybody else is going, standing in the longest lines and paying the highest ticket prices, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that helps you out in making sure you can make it more reasonable in the cost.
That's good. And so how would you say that's a really good way to think about planning the dates and thinking about how we want to do it. But how do you think through what you do?
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's so many different types of vacations. Yeah. How do you think through, all right, for the week after summer starts, let's go and do this type of vacation. Like, is there a way you think through what a better vacation, like, I feel like not all vacations are created equal, and that going to the theme park the week after school lets out might not be very relaxing, speaking from experience here.
Yeah.
How do you think through what you do?
Yeah. So I distill a vacation down to 3 different types. There's rest, play, and adventure. And these are my 3 types. So
that's good.
Rest is, I'm thinking like I'm taking naps. Maybe I'm laying on the beach somewhere. Maybe there's a hammock involved. Like, rest is about giving my body and mind time to recover. Play is about doing things that are really fun that are not necessarily restful. So maybe going to a theme park, you're playing the whole time, or going to a water park, or going fishing or something like that. Like, you're being more active. You're not just laying still, you're being more active, but the goal is play. And then the third one that I'd say is adventure. And adventure is like, hey, let's go to this place we've never been before. Let's take a massive road trip. Let's go camping. Let's do something that is not only active, but is new or adventurous just in its pure nature. And then I look at those 3 different types. And as we look at the year with our highlighter, we say, okay, well, where do we want to rest? Where do we want to play? And where do we want to try and have an adventure? We try and balance those 3, because if it's all adventure, you need a vacation from your vacations because you're so exhausted.
Yep.
But if it's all rest, then you never have those memorable experiences. You sleep a lot. Yeah. So it's good to think about, like, what types of vacation could I take? Rest, play, adventure. Can I balance them? And what does that look like? Where would we want to do it?
That's such a great distinction, because I imagine, and I'm speaking for myself, but I imagine most people are like this, where you have a bent towards one of them. Like, I want adventure. And so every vacation I go on, I'm looking for ways to find adventure. And so every time I get back from my vacations, I'm tired and I want to rest and I need a vacation. But what a great way to think about it. Hey, maybe this is a vacation for just rest. And maybe you just go rent that beach house for a week, try to find that deal on a condo on the beach, and you just stay there. If I go somewhere, I want to hit everything, and rent a car and drive everywhere around it and see everything. And that's adventurous to me. That's exciting to me, but man, it burns you out.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's great.
And usually in any group, there are some people who want to do everything, and there are other people who want to do as little as possible. So there's a good way to balance it out. Like, this vacation may be rest, we're going to do very little, and that vacation may be adventure, we're going to do it all. So knowing that you're going to have a vacation in your group that is going to work really well for what you desire makes it easier to be like, all right, this other one, I can do what you really want, and I can be with you, and we can enjoy that as well.
Oh, what a great framework to think about it.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to our second to last thing, which is don't overdo it.
Oh, wow.
Don't overdo it. So the whole point of a vacation is rest, right? It's not a project. It's the whole point is to rest. So don't overdo it. Don't schedule yourself at 5. I get off at 5 p.m. At 5:01, we're on the road. It's a road trip, and we come back at 7:59 a.m. on Monday and go into work at 8 a.m. Don't overdo it. Give yourself some margin, because the whole plan is to rest. So whether that means you come home a day early from your trip, so you have more time to maybe sleep in and rest after a long drive, or unpack, or kind of whatever you did, if it's an adventure or play, like you're able to kind of rest and relax or get all the sand out of your luggage or whatever it is, give yourself some margin that day on the end, or maybe a day in the beginning to do more extensive packing, because it's going to be a deeper trip into the jungle or something like that. You want to make sure you have all the gear.
So maybe not pack 15 minutes before the trip.
Yeah, maybe you don't pack 15 minutes before the trip and forget.
My wife tells me that all the time.
And also when you're planning out the trip, speaking to like wanting to schedule every minute, give yourself some wiggle room in the actual plan. So if we're gone for like a whole week, usually there's a day or at least an evening where there's no particular plan before we start the trip. Because while we're on the trip, we want to be able to have some spontaneity and decide like, oh, we saw that cool restaurant, we should go there. Or we heard about this other thing, we should do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Giving yourself that really flexibility allows you to then do the fun things you hear about when you're in a space where you had no context before.
No, that's really good. Basically have a cushion, because you don't know what the vacation is going to be like ultimately. As much as you plan, you don't know what you're going to come across. You don't know what you're going to see, or you don't know what you're going to hear about when you get there. And so it really opens up the door for maximizing that vacation and enjoying your time there.
Yeah, that's the hope. And now we've talked about having the right mindset, setting aside all the actual days and deciding what style vacation it's going to be, and thinking about how can we have some margin. The last thing is to actually plan what you're going to do during that time. So I don't think it's bad to plan a week ahead. I don't think it's bad to plan a month ahead. It's probably really difficult to plan a year ahead unless it's like a really big once in a lifetime trip. But as it gets close, start talking about what are the fun things we want to do. We've set aside this time. We've said in our annual rhythm, we want this to be more restful or more playful or more adventurous, or maybe the goal is we're making memories as a group, or the goal is we just really want to rest and recover because this has been a long season. As you're getting close to those dates, start planning where you want to go, what that looks like. You can start doing the research for hotel or for travel or for whatever it is, and start planning. And as you're doing that plan, just remember the whole goal of this is to rest.
Yeah.
So keep that goal in front of you as you start to set that plan as the dates get close, and then have a blast. Like, it's such a privilege and a joy that God has called us to having a rhythm of rest, not just in our day, not just in our week, but also in our year, so that we can have this time set aside to be able to rest and enjoy the relationships and people God has given us, and enjoy part of creation, enjoy the experiences that are here. Being spiritual and enjoying God is not just enjoying worship songs and Bible. That's a big part of it, but it's also enjoying the life that he has given you and the people that he's given you to spend that life with.
That's so good. Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate all that practical advice, and I'm sure all of our listeners do as well. It's really good stuff. Well, thank you guys for listening on the City Rev Life podcast. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you for joining us on City Rev Life. You can subscribe to this podcast, rate and review wherever you're listening to this. And we love it when you share it with your friends on social media. For more videos and content, go ahead and check us out at cityrev.org/podcast or download our City Rev Church app. Have a great day.